Hey, welcome to Diary on One podcast. I am your host, Akakandelwa Kandepwe, also known as Aka. I'm a little excited to kind of share a thought process, something I've been thinking about, something I have been noticing with a few of my friends and peers, some of their life-changing decisions, what they have made, what they have decided to become. Do they want to be in business? Do they want to build a career in the corporate world? Do they want to build a non-profit? And I think that when I look at them and some of their life-changing decisions, including me, initially, if this was like 5 years ago, I'd be like, why are you making that decision? Like, it doesn't add up. Like, aren't we all going to do this? But now, when I look back, I'm like, it makes sense, because you can only connect the dots looking backwards. Steve Jobs' favorite quote. Commencement speech anyway. So, what I want to play around with in this episode is a word called service. Right? We have used it, we have experienced it, and we have offered it. And it says something I'd like you to sit with is service. And used it, offered it, experienced it. Right? And because we have experienced it, it means there are people that are offering the service. We are offering the service at one point, and others are offering the service, or an institution is offering the service. Like, what does it really mean? I started playing around this word a lot when I started engaging a lot in consuming a lot of Samuel Sinek's content and books, because he's very big on that, and he's the Start With Why guy. He talks a lot about friendship. But in this context, when I started to experience it and try to kind of understand, I don't think I really understood what it meant. But now when I look back, I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense when you start to think of that in that way. That makes a lot of sense, because this is where it is, and this is where I'm at, or this is where this person is. And I just want this to be that type of conversation where you go like, that makes a lot of sense. So I am going to define service, and I'm going to define a few other services, and then I'm going to start breaking them down in relation to life, career choices, and business, or a direction somebody might take with their life. Because that would really mean a lot of stuff for different people, right? Because we're all different people. Not everybody wants to get into the corporate world. Not everybody wants to get into public service. Not everybody wants to get into, or not everybody wants to own a business. Like, what does that really mean for different people? Let's break down this idea. So, what is service? A service is an intangible economic activity where one party provides value, assistance, or labor to another rather than a physical good. So for this context, in the business world, there's a product and service. So a service is intangible, a product is physical. Like if you go in ShopRite and you buy dishwasher, that's a product. But that's a business me side. But here, we're just going to break down, I just want to talk about service. And that is the definition. This is an intangible economic activity where one party provides value, assistance, or labor to another. And the keywords are value, assistance, or labor. Right? So when you think about yourself in where you're at and what role you play, what normally do you provide? Do you provide value? Do you provide assistance? Do you provide labor? Right? I think value and assistance will automatically get into labor, or it will equal to labor, because then labor is something you offer to another person. Then they get to pay you, or somebody offers you labor, then you get to pay them. Again, in very different concepts. Right. So the three types of services: consumer services, services provided directly to individuals for personal use, such as dining at a restaurant, taking a flight, getting a haircut. I won't dive into this too much, but it's just something you can think about. But then we're getting into my favorite part of this. Business services, offerings designed to help companies operate effectively, such as accounting, IT support, consulting or marketing. Public service, systems operated by government or non-profit to meet societal needs such as healthcare, public transport, policing, and postal services. You might be wondering why it's kind of important for me to break down these services as we have this conversation. For consumer services, I don't think it's not relevant to this conversation. I want to break down and have a conversation about 3 services that are provided, and the whole essence is to kind of help somebody realize, where exactly do I fit in the world, and what service do I want to offer? It reaches a point in time where you're offering service. For you to actually survive anywhere, you need to be providing value so you could actually gain an economic advantage, or you could actually gain money, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You need to provide a service for you to be able to make money to pay for other services that make your life easy. The circle of life. Now I'm realizing that all the time. So we're having this conversation because I'm at a point where it's been 10 years since I started to volunteer, right? And also I'm at a point where mid-20s, I am in a space of, I am building a company. I have provided a service. I work in the corporate world, and I'm a busybody. Like, I love to keep busy. When I was thinking about how to break down this conversation, I really didn't think about the nitty-gritties. But then when I kind of wanted to just give people an overall idea of what a life of service could be for you, and the different type of services that you could offer, where you could get economic value, which is money, from. And I think this conversation is very important when you are starting your career, when you're mid-career and you're thinking about retirement. And also when you have children, what service would you like your children to be exposed to first? And how would you like to map out their life? Sometimes it's not like even if you map up their life, they're going to be who you want them to become, they're going to do the career you want them to. No, but it's just giving them an option to explore the different things so that they can have an idea of what role they would like to play in society. Because overall, there's a role we're all playing in society. So what exactly are you doing? Earlier, I talked about how I'm at a point where I am noticing stuff and I see what my peers are doing and where they're at. So one of my favorite people is Brighton, right? Brighton started his life by volunteering with UNICEF and WWF. When he volunteered, they said he was part of a team that said a non-profit, right? Like, in his early teens to his early 20s, like, he started a non-profit and worked for non-profit organizations. When he worked for non-profit organizations, he later on went to study for his master's abroad, worked for a non-profit organization abroad, but later on started his company. And that was very fascinating for me, because when he was guiding me, I thought, this man is just going to be a big shot in the non-profit world. He's very passionate about what he does. He was very passionate about radio, information, working with young people. And I was very sure that that's the path he's going to take. But it's so funny how he went from point A to point B to point C in different forms. He went from owning or being part of owning a non-profit to working for a non-profit, would say being in the corporate world, to owning his own company. Those are two different fronts. And he started volunteering very early and used radio to disseminate information and help young people. I am one of those people. And he doesn't even know I'm talking about this. But anyway, so it's such a holistic approach of life where you're like, okay, that's interesting. I don't think anyone's life is like that. All right? I don't think that we all approach life that way. But if I ever get him on the podcast, I will ask him what the thought process was. But me, who's looking from the outside, I'm like, okay, that's strange. I wanna know a lot. And he also just gave me the same advice. Like he was like, do this and do that and do that. There's no straight answer when it comes to choosing this type of service you'd like to provide to society. But I think that it's very important to know what type of person you want to become. I think this goes back to my goal setting session, is who do you want to become? What's your end goal? Like, what's your it goal? And then the process might not be as linear as that. So there are three types of services, or there are three types of things you can look at when you are trying to map out your life or your career. Is, do you want to own a business? So do you want to offer a business service in the future? Do you want to be in public service? Right? This is working for the government or non-profit. Right? Or I'll just leave public service to the government. And do you want to help government? Would you like to help government help out or supplement public service? I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but I'm thinking of it in the terms of non-profits. Non-profits help government reach their endeavors, right? If you are a civil society and you want, it's election period in Zambia, so you want to help the electoral commission, you're a non-profit that focuses on elections. So you want to help out the electoral commission just do election sensitization. The government is not paying you, but it's the good for society, right? Like, it's really just for the good of society, and this is why you're doing it. And this is the three elements I'd like to focus on when you're thinking about your career. I know there are more. You could be a freelancer, you could be a lot of stuff, but these are the three elements I want to kind of play around and break down. Is it business? Is it public service? Is it non-profit? These are three different environments. And when you want either of these, you could map out your life. You could pass through all of them and still reach the other. But the environments are different. Even how you map out your career or your path is very different when you're getting into this, right? And which one should I start with? Business, because I'm a business person. I have seen people go from working in the non-profit, getting into public service, and later on owning a business. And when you ask them, did you ever think about this path? They're like, not really. Not really. I just reached a point where I offered what I could in the non-profit space, and I wanted to save my country, and I wanted to own a business. And also, one thing I forgot to mention is the objectives in these three categories are very different. The objectives of owning a business is to make money. I just want to be rich. Like, others just own a business so they could sustain their life. A lot of young people start side hustles because there's no employment. So I would just start a side hustle. I will sell anything. But if you are as serious as me, what is your objective, Aka, of wanting on a business? I do know what I do does help out young people, but overall my objective is to make money. Like, I just want to make money. Like, I just want to be rich, guys. So that the objectives are different. Public service, the objective is to serve the bigger communities, serve society in the country. It's public schools. Free education is now law in Zambia. Amen to that. So policing, like, this is the order of business. Without public service, a country can fall apart. So we need hospitals, we need police, we need military, we need schools. Like, we need a lot of stuff for a country, for a society to function. And that's the role of public service. And I'll also talk about how everything feeds into everything and why there's no wrong path, but you need to be very strategic of how you serve that community or of how you pick that path. Non-profit. So being in the non-profit world is about serving the greater good as well, like serving society. But then the non-profit, you get to serve a specific element of society, right? Or the community. So government is like in general, they serve everybody. It doesn't matter if you're public service, it doesn't matter if you are in business, in non-profit, they serve everybody. It's a major parent, like it's the big dog. It's our parent at this point. When you're in the non-profit space, you get to just pick one element that you're passionate about it and serve it. This is why we have different non-profits that are saving different elements of the communities or of society. Like, no one is doing one big thing. They're just picking one to say, hey, we are going to focus on the SDGs. Hey, we are going to focus on elections. Or, hey, we are going to focus on education, on financial literacy, on just literacy. Like, you get to pick anything and just focus on it. And this is why it works so well with government, because then you supplement what the government is doing in that sector and you bring more awareness to it. How does this feed into each other, right? The business world offers, the business owners or the business world offers employment. They pay tax to the government for operating in that society. The government offers using that tax money and other money. They now offer public services, which are hospitals, transport, policing, and postal services. And then the non-profit as well gets grants from the businesses, and then they also offer those services. I hope it's like making sense how I'm breaking this down. Like, everything feeds into that, and then businesses benefit from the public services offered by government and operated by government, and they also benefit from the services offered by civil society, because then they get to work in societies where they get to work in communities where those civil societies are offering, let's say, maybe free trainings, free capacity building trainings that they are indirectly paying for. So it's like really a circle of life where everything is everything is feeding into everything in one another, and you then get to think about it. Oh my goodness, which service do I want to work on? Which service do I want to be in or offer? If you recently graduated, I know I created a graduating episode. if you just graduated and want to graduate, I think this is a very important conversation to have with yourself. It's like, oh, these are the 3 things that are a lot could be happening, a lot other things could be offering, but it still goes to be like, these are the 3 things, these are the 3 major environments or paths I can take in the world. Which one do I want? Like, which one is my end goal? Is my end goal to become a minister or a director in government? Is my end goal about owning a business? Is my end goal a non-profit? And from all these end goals, what path should I take to make it there? Do I really understand what it takes to actually get into that path and be in that end goal? I know now, every time you ask somebody, they're like, oh no, it was just by coincidence I started my business. Oh no, it was just by coincidence. This was the only available job, so I got it, and this is the path that has been made for me. Or it's just by coincidence I started to volunteer, and then I got into the non-profit. I don't think we should be living life by coincidence. I think we should be having more conversation about service and what type of service you'd like to offer to society to bring economic value to yourself and society. Like, what role do you want to play in your country or in the world? Because as long as you become an adult, as long as you graduate, you will play a role. It's either you pick it for yourself or it's going to be picked for you. But then I am just sticking to these 3 roles. They're very different. I have, just a disclaimer, I haven't worked in public service. Like, I don't intend to. I don't think that I would like to serve my country in that way. I don't think that I'll have impact serving my country in that way. And this is how I knew public service was not my take from the get-go, ever since I was young. But I really did think I would get on a path of working in the non-profit space, because I have worked in that space. I have volunteered in that space for so long. And it made a lot of sense. One of the reasons why I ended up deciding that working for a non-profit organization wasn't my path was the lack of control. I didn't like how we're being managed as young people at that point. I also just didn't like that I didn't have control over a lot of stuff. And everything is donor demanded. Like, it's a donor path, right? And I was just like, no, I just don't want to be in such a path. Then I was like, oh, okay, good. Non-profit is not my space. Then there's a business aspect. I was going to be like, okay, do I own a business or work for a business? All right? Because when you think about businesses, it's either you're offering a service that people are paying you for, or you're offering a service to a company that they are paying for, and that service interchanges to their customers. So it's either you're the owner, the business owner, and you're offering a service and people are paying you for, and you have employees, or you're an employee and your employer pays you for the service you offer and their clients, right? Like, you also offer that service to their clients. I hope that breakdown makes sense. So I went like, okay, great. I think I'm going to get into the business service. But again, I wasn't sure if I wanted to work for an organization. I always joke around and say, oh my goodness, they will not like my pink hair. But my workplace really has indulged my different hair colors without any incidents, apparently. Not without any incidents I heard of anyway, but I have had really interesting hair colors at work. So that was in 2021 when I decided to say, okay, I don't want to be in the non-profit space. I am done. And I had this conversation with Brighton, right? And where I was like, I'm bored. And when I say I'm bored, it's just my thing of I'm frustrated and I want out. So mostly I always start the conversation of I'm bored. So when you think about that path, I then said, okay, so where do I now fit in society? Because firstly, public service, I'm out. But also you could do something and offer different services in public service, right? You could still work for the government as an accountant, as an economics, as a project manager. Like, you could still offer those services to the government and they would employ you. It was just not for me. Just from the get-go. Because again, government is like one of the biggest employers, but I know that the informal sector in Zambia employs a lot more people, right? But the government, again, is like when the civil servants get paid, we all are like, hallelujah. But yeah, so government is like one of our biggest employers. But I was already like, I don't want to work for the government, right? And because I've already served and I like to serve, like I have volunteered, I have exposure, I'm like, okay, so I have two paths for me here. Which one do I want to take? One of my favorite authors is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad Man. And he always says you can't get rich when you're an employer. And like Rich Dad Poor Dad was like my first financial literacy book I read when I was 18. And I always tell myself, I can't get rich as an employer. I can't get rich if I am working in the non-profit. And there's nothing wrong about wanting to get rich. And it's just something I remind myself every time. So I'm like, okay, great. How does this work? Like, how do I build up my path and where can I go? So I start freelancing and working with small businesses so I can learn on how those businesses work. And I can learn to see how I can build my own company or where I'm at as a person and just experience life. Like, okay, maybe I may say I want this. Then I experience being in a business and I don't like it. And also somebody actually said, you're so emotional. I don't think you do well in a business. And I told him, I'll call you when I prove you wrong. Like, I will call you when I prove you wrong. And I will prove him. And I think I am proving him wrong. And a couple of people said that to me. Just not one person. They're like, you're so emotional. And I'm like, don't worry. I will still make it in business. So I already did make that decision to say that, I will try, like I will build a company. And I was already running a small business called Scented Attic by then. I was just selling perfumes and cosmetics to different people. Because that was happening. I also just started freelancing to get more experience and learn how the business world actually works. Then I started noticing gaps. And this is not me to just break down those gaps. I think I talk about them in other different episodes or future episodes. But then that's just how I made my decision. Fast forward to when I graduated, I just needed a job, all right? Like, I needed to make money because at that point, my business wasn't making money, but I still had bills to pay and targets to meet with my business. So I get into the private sector, right? I get into the private sector and I work for a company. So now I get to have a view of how working for a big organization feels like, and do I like it or not? Because one thing again, I want to own a big organization. So that experience was necessary. Even if I wouldn't admit it on most days, I think it's the most necessary experience of how just experiencing working for like one of the top organizations or one of the big institutions. Like, how does that really feel? What are the nitty-gritties that happen? One thing about me as well is, and one thing you should create for yourself is give yourself timelines. Say, I will do this when given an opportunity, and I will do this other thing when given the opportunity. And that is me. I am the, oh my goodness, I should take that out of my box so that I can have first-hand experience of what I would like to experience or what I would like to create or not, so I can get inspired of what is and what isn't. Yeah. So it was one of those things where I just had to experience. I had experience for myself, and I wanted to have a clear picture. But one of my other favorite people that I have noticed when it comes to big life-changing decisions is just noticing my friends and peers and how they are making their life choices now. That sounds like my life choice, right? Like I volunteer non-profits, freelance for different small organizations, working for a big organization, then literally just transitioning to owning a business and trying to build a company in Zambia. Yeah, same word, same odd. One of my favorite things, again, has just been noticing how other people have been making their transitions and how thoughtful they have been about it. I've had them on the podcast, some of them, and I know somebody I had on the podcast, he was in the corporate world. He's a photographer. He was in the corporate world, transitioned a year later to starting his business as a photographer, then going to owning a clothing store. And all those decisions have been influenced by different things, but I feel like it's like one of my favorites. But it's like very interesting to kind of just see how decisions are made to say, oh, I was doing great. I was here. I was really going to make it in the corporate space. But then I had a passion for this, so I went into this. After going into this, I needed to diversify my portfolio, so I went into this. And this is how I made my decision, and this is the background of it. But I've also seen people from the get-go, from scratch, build their career in the private sector, in the corporate world, where they're just like, I was working as this person here, then I transitioned to this role, then I transitioned to this role. Like, others even do it for one company. Like, it's amazing how the loyalty is. Like, for one company, you've been at different roles. Even when it comes to non-profit, right? I know people that have, that's just a space. Like, they don't see themselves working for a profit organizations in the private sector. Like, they just want for profit. They don't work for a profit organization. They are just a non-profit person to their core, and they will move organizations. They will make those big moves at any given point, right? And we have the public sector people, who are my favorite, because without the public sector people, we wouldn't be here. But then public sector can be in two ways. You could offer a service to the government and be an employee, or you can become a politician, which either way works, honestly, depending or to what you want to do. But I also know people that go from private sector to public sector as a politician, and others that transition from public sector to private sector and start owning a business. There's no straight path. But I think that on the other side, for us looking at people that are on this side, it's very important to have this conversation. Where do I want to start from? Where do I want to end? Because you will end. Like, your career will come to an end through retirement or death. Retirement doesn't mean you stop working, but it means you transition and you slow down, which is also just fine. But on the other side, if you are getting into the workforce, it's very important to ask yourself, where do I want to start from? And if you're already in the workforce, it's very important to ask yourself, how do I want to transition? Or where do I want to go? What's the path going to do for me? What am I doing for society? Is this a path I would like to hold on for a long time? I know somebody's going to go like, but jobs are hard to find. Yes, jobs are hard to find, but it also doesn't mean you can't map out your path. And sometimes if your path started in something you don't like, but it's necessary to make ends meet, that's okay. But this conversation is too relevant. It's asking yourself, of course I'm starting in something I don't like, but how do I want to map out my life? Where do I want to go? How do I want to look at this? In what sense is this going to work out for me? In this, what sense do I see myself ending my career? And it's also fine if your end goal is to where you are. But I feel like you're born for greatness. You could achieve more. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to just stick at one thing. You can achieve more. And life is so much fun when you kind of explore and have fun and see where you could go and what you could do. So those are just typical examples of people I know that I haven't mentioned but Brighton. So this is a very good conversation of people I know that I haven't mentioned by name. But I want you to just think about it, or just even look at the people around you. If you are in your career, like if you just graduated or you're transitioning, like ask yourself, okay, this person, ask yourself, okay, what's my career path for my mom? Map it out, like just map it out, what decisions she has made and where she goes. One of the people that has had different careers is my grandmother. I have never really asked her. Like, I don't know, like, the nitty-gritties. I will ask her. But I've never really, like, asked her the nitty-gritties. But she has really had different paths, right? There's a time she said she worked in a bank. My grandmother is so interesting. Not in a bank, but she worked as a clerk at the court. I don't know why she did that, but she ended her career as a nurse, a matron. Then she later on went to work for a non-profit. Then she has multiple businesses. Like, she's just like, oh, I've seen something, I'm gonna buy and resell. My favorite human being on earth is my grandmother. She's like so interesting. So I'll just mention the things I think I remember. So a clerk at a court, that's in public service. Then transitioned to become a nurse, public service in the hospital, right? Reached retirement while she was still owning different shops where she was selling different items actually. Then transitioned into the non-profit for like 5 years after retirement. Now she's just my grandmother, of course, but she just likes to do small businesses that keep her busy. Her flowers actually keep her busy, thank God. But there's that. My grandfather was just a straight shooter. He was in service. He worked for prisons. And I think from start to finish, he was just in service. And also owned a few businesses later on during his tenure there. So I think that it's also much fun as a parent. You kind of think of what you'd like your children to be exposed to early. Right? Like, I didn't have those conversations with my grandparents who raised me. But because I like to say that I wasn't the smartest and I was all over the place with so much energy, I just tried out things to keep myself busy, and everybody in my life, my parents, my grandparents, were just happy that I was a busy child. That made sure I wasn't in trouble. But as a parent, I think that as a guardian, I have a nephew and younger siblings. I want my baby to learn a few stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I want him exposed to things early. I like to tell my siblings that volunteer. At one point in this world, we should all be volunteering in different ways, in different forms, to the bigger goal, which is society. Like, volunteer. Non-profits always want volunteer. And I try to kind of create that space for my younger siblings, cousins. I'm like, expose yourself, volunteer. How does this look like for you? So as a future parent, I already have a child, but as a future parent and as a parent, ask yourself, what would I like to expose my child to early? Do I want to expose my child to volunteering? Do I want to expose my child to business? Like, do I want to expose my child to my company, to the work I do, my career? What would I like to expose my child to? I don't think they will end up in what you're doing, but what's important is they're just exposed. What's important is that they're just exposed. Because they're exposed, it means that a lot of things will make sense for them even when they're trying to make their career choices. And even if they made their career choices, that's not a guarantee that that's what they'll stick to. Like, you could be in public service and later on go in non-profit, or you could be in public service and later on 10 years later on a very successful business. Valid. But exposure here is key. Like, if you're not exposed, you can't know. And the problem we're having is people are just not exposed. They're thinking, no, when the government hires me, oh no, when this company hires me, this is key. No, it's not. But sometimes also it is. Really, it really also just depends. You could really choose you want to live the simplest life possible and be happy, and somebody that says, I want to be this, that, and be very unhappy. What matters is you just knowing exactly what type of service you're in currently, knowing exactly if you want to transition, what type of service you'd want to transition into, and what is your goal. I think the highest thing you can do is living a life of service. I think service is beautiful. It plays a very important role in a country, in a world. Everything feeds into one other thing. If you strip the other thing of its importance, then there's nothing society is doing. We're all here because these different elements are playing out so well, and in the end, it's giving value or labor that matters. So my encouragement is learn what type of service you're in. If you're already in service, do you want to be in that service? Like, do you want to do the work you're doing now, or do you want to transition? And what's your end goal? And how do you get your end goal? That's for people who are already working. If you're setting out your career, ask yourself, where do you want to start from? Do you want to work in government? Do you want to work for a non-profit? Do you want to work for a business, a profit organization, a corporate entity? Where do you want to start from? If you start from there, 5 years later, you should ask yourself, is this where I want to be, or do I want to transition? And if you transition, where are you transitioning to? Sometimes a lot of things are calling. I have a friend, and he likes to tell me, I just want to save the country. Like, I want to make this world, I want to make this country better for the next generation, for my children, for your children. It makes a lot of sense. And for me, for example, I just want to serve the country by starting a business, by adding economic value, by changing young people's lives through business and through exposure. And that's like, you need to have those conversations. You need to look out and map out people's lives so you can then understand, like, okay, that makes a lot of sense and that doesn't make a lot of sense. And like, okay, I don't want that in that exact way. How does that look like for me? You know, like, where am I at? And where do I want to go? So it's either business working for a corporate entity. So it's either you could own a business, work for a corporate entity, work for government, work for a non-profit. Either way, you kind of just have to learn. The key thing is knowing what type do I want to live, what type of service do I want to provide, and what role do I want to play in society. How big is it, how small is it, and where do I want to go? With that, I just want to say, listen to Steve Jobs' corporate, listen to Steve Jobs' commencement speech, where he says, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it changed your way you think about where you're at and where you want to go. I hope you pick a life of service. Honestly, service is such a beautiful thing, and picking it out is something you get to experience. Yeah, you get to experience and you get to offer, because we all have to offer something. And I believe living a life of service is one of my favorite things. If you like this episode, share it with a friend, a parent, anybody that you would think it would impact. I love it, and it's one of my favorite things to do, and I'm happy to be of service in this way. With that being said, bye for now.